Hello, my name's Rob and welcome to Swift Slots. So today I've got another show and tell. I don't mean to do these all the time, but I do have a backlog of stuff that I want to show you before I actually start going with my real content of making things and doing bits and bobs. We've done a little bit of that, but not too much. But today I've got this. This is really interesting and it is worthy of another show and tell. So I'll get you down on the bench and I'll show you what it is. So I'm not necessarily a fan of 3D printing in all scenarios, but I do think it has its place. And one of its places is very low volume production runs of specialist interest items. And you've got to take the rough with the smooth with regards the inadequacies of 3D printing with maybe questionable strength here and there and some lines that you've got to sand out. Lines depend on the quality of the print and so on. But in this particular instance, I'm happy to go with 3D printing. I think in this instance, it's one of the only practical options that there is. So let me show you what's in this box. Look at that. Really, really cool. And then we've got obviously the other parts. Let's bring that off screen. Here we are. I'll just tip them out for a minute because it's easier. I don't want to damage them, so nice and carefully. So look at that. That is cool. I mean, this is not something that you even see in cars like Skeletrix or any of the main, even Carrera to a degree, I guess. So there we go. And the grille. Really cool. Forget that for a mo. Here's the interior. I guess we could do something a little bit better than that, I suppose, but it's pretty decent as it is, really, I guess, by the time it's inside the body. You got the fuel tank, I'm guessing that would be. And we've got this part, which I don't quite know what that is yet. Oh, it's the air scoop, isn't it? With the air. It would go on the top of the engine like that. Actually, let's do it because it looks cool. There you go. So there you are. That's that. And we got some wheels here that I won't be using the wheels. I highly doubt there's anything wrong with them, to be honest with you. I think they're perfectly nice, but I got a better plan for the wheels. And here's the other bag of parts. So this kit came from a Spanish seller on Facebook, and I will put the link up on the screen right now. So we have a standard motor. Why have we only got 3 wheels? I'm sure the other one will turn up in a minute. We have the axle. I did actually ask the seller to organise all the parts for me, and he was good enough to do that for a little bit of extra money, because I don't like buying kits that I've then got to go off and source all the parts from, because some people will make a kit to use parts that might not be that easy for us to get in the UK, for example, or anywhere else. So I do tend to buy the whole lot as a whole. I found the other wheel. So there's the other wheel. What else we got in here? We've got a little bit of glass, but I'll put that to one side because it's boring. And we've got, oh, the radiator. So there we are. So we have the radiator and obviously the grille. And the chassis. So I think I might have popped, oh, there we are. That piece just goes on there. But yeah, pretty good. Now the reality is with this chassis, I'll probably end up remaking this whole thing out of brass. I might cut off this small detail and put it back on, but I might just replace all this in brass wire. Potentially, yeah, it'll be either whole completely remade in brass or a hybrid of this 3D print with brass. Again, I'll bring you along for the ride with that. So this is what I've got for the wheels. Now, these are really, really cool, and they're properly cool. So in with the kit, the seller gives you, I think they're Cartrix. I may be wrong, but I think these are Cartrix wheels. And they're very, very good. I mean, they're really, really nice. Now I'm looking at them again. They really are pretty decent. And they came with tyres. But I think I might have done something slightly cooler. Now, Pendle Slot sell these beautiful wheels. They are absolutely gorgeous, and they're aluminium. They are so, so nice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the kit wheel at all, but I think we can agree, or maybe we can't, whatever. But yes. Now, these wheels hit the larger wheels. Let me show you. I've played musical wheels with these. These wheels used to come with these tyres. And they go on thus. Now, that's not going to fly for a rat rod. So these wheels, came with these tyres. And they go on thus. So like that. So if you take this tyre and put it onto the Pendle Slot wheel, you get a difference. They're the same physical size and everything else, but you just get a whole different look. Well, they fit. Almost fit. Sort of fit. So I've been playing musical wheels and tyres. The fronts, I can't remember which ones were the Pendle Slot wheel. Obviously so the Pendle Slot wheels came with these tyres, and then I took the tyres that came from these Cartrix wheels and I put them onto the Pendle Slot wheels. Now, the Pendle Slot wheels didn't quite fit those tyres, so what I did is I played around a little bit on the lathe, and I ended up taking a small amount of material off the side of this rib to bring it down, because I think the rib was too wide. I'll show you. So this is the original tyre that was on the Pendle Slot wheel, and this is the tyre that was on the Cartrix wheel. And as you can see, there's quite a bit difference in the groove. So I needed to allow for that on the Pendle Slot wheel. So what I did is I took some material off of one side, took some material off the other side on the lathe, and then I made a band, and I think the band ended up being about 15 thou thick. I don't know if you can see, perhaps you can, around this outside edge there's a band of aluminium. I don't know if you can see it. Maybe you can. There's a rim there. It's about 15 thousandths thick. And that's gone on there because when this tyre was stretched over this wheel, it was just concaving a little bit because there just wasn't enough meat going into the groove to support the tyre. So I just made up those shims or spacers, or I don't know what you'd call them, just whatever. And now it's not entirely flat, but it's pretty decent. What the trouble is, if you go too far out, you end up pulling the rim off the front of the tyre. So I didn't want to go too far. There seems to be a limit of how far you can go with these things. So, but that's okay. And it all sits on there nicely. So those are the wheels. And as you can see, there's a big difference between front and rear, as it should be on a rat rod. As it should be. But they just look so, so nice. And they're not expensive. I forget what I paid for the Pendle Slot wheels, but it really wasn't a lot. It wasn't, I don't know, £12, I guess. I can't remember what they were, but they weren't anything to worry about. And then we've got the centre caps, which you choose your style, the knockoffs, and on you go. So there you have it. So I'll just see if I can place this in a meaningful way where you can get an idea of where we're going with it. So he's on there. He goes all the way into, oh well, it's all making a bit of a mess of it, aren't I really, but never mind. So tell you what I'll do is I'll give up with this and I'll pause the video and I'll assemble this and I'll put some stills in right now. So, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of 3D printing in most scenarios really, but in that particular scenario, I think there's a space for it. A real niche product, awesome car. I can't wait to get stuck into it and get it looking like a proper rat rod, all rusty and manky, a bit like this. But that's for a few weeks' time or a couple of months' time. I've got plenty of other projects to get on with, sort of projects that I've been showing you. But on a different note, or slightly a note from yesterday, I got these. So that's one step closer to a spray box. So just the LEDs to turn up now, and we can get cracking on getting the spray booth done. Then we can get the little GTA all sprayed up, and some other projects that I've got all lined up that I haven't even told you about yet, and I get the Metro finished as well. So hopefully, if you like this sort of content, you'll subscribe and hit the bell. That'd be awesome. Until the next time, thank you very much.